All right, welcome everyone, especially those who came right over here from my response video to Hillary. Hillary, if you're watching, link is in this video's description, and it's right here. Excuse me, guys. If you want to call in, I'm happy to have people call in via Discord. It operates kind of like Zoom, but it's actually kind of a lot easier for me to use from a broadcasting standpoint and doesn't completely hog my audio. So again, folks, if you want to chime in, that's all we're doing today. There's no real agenda for tonight. There's no outline for what I want to cover for tonight. I just wanted to follow up on tonight's video. So folks, do me a favor. If you're catching this, do me a favor and share. I challenge you to share. I challenge you to share the video you just watched. I challenge you to share this video. I'd love to hear what you guys think. I am not a fan of keeping commentary. Is my volume correct? I think my volume should be probably adjusted here. Let me see how my volume is right now. My volume is pretty good, pretty much where I want to be. Cool. So yeah, so I'm really only doing this for a little while. I just want to hear your input. So again, I'll be keeping my eyes on the Discord channel, the Discord server, excuse me. All you gotta do is click on the link in this video's description to jump in. And then there's several voice channels. One of them is General, Captain Phoenix, Main, Mike Reed's Literature, and then the one that you guys can't get into is Talk to Mike. And the way we'll do this is if you guys just hop into the General channel, I will pull you guys into the Talk to Mike. If you are a member of the community and you don't know how to use that, go ahead and just send me a call. It looks like somebody's actually in the channel right now. So I don't want to say this person's name, although I know exactly who it is. That person, if you're watching, feel free to hop in so we can do something of a call-in situation. And to that person who's also watching, if you can't figure out how to use the voice channels, just right-click my name and just call, and we'll do it that way because I have a feeling I know how many people are going to be tuning in. So there's kind of a lot that's happened, that's elapsed that I could be talking about, but frankly, there's so much I don't have time for it. And this is not my way of complaining. This is my way of saying thank you to the community, right? Because you guys have kept me so overwhelmingly overworked with the landscaping that I haven't had time to do this stuff. My apologies to Steve Harding. Genuinely, I wanted to do a monthly update with him, or at least an every other month update with him from Hartford. I'm just simply not going to have time to do that until wintertime comes around because you guys have kept me so busy. Now, winter's coming up eventually here. So if folks, you're looking for plowing, I do plowing, let me know. Let me get my notes out here because I do have some basic notes about some things that we could be talking about here. Let me get rid of this. But yeah, so that's kind of what I've been facing is you guys have been so overwhelming with your support for my business, for my small business here in New Milford. I've been able to keep certain folks employed. So this is creating work. This is creating job. Right now I'm in the middle of building a walkway. Hopefully we'll have it done by the end of this week. Big major cross of the fingers. The weather has to cooperate, which it hasn't. We have some work to catch up on from last week still, because we just always are catching up on work at this year because we just had so much rain. I'm doing this, folks, so I can, as a follow-up to the video you guys just watched, I really want to get your thoughts on everything. Let's see where folks are. So it doesn't look like anyone's joined in yet. It could be just people are wrapping up or finishing up, watching that video. If you're watching on Ray is sorry, watching the Jets whoop the Eagles. Well, I kind of hate the Eagles as a Giants fan, so that's okay. I'm assuming that game is going to be over momentarily, Ray, and I'm assuming Ray would Ray give a darn about Bills Giants? Yes, he absolutely would. So that game kicks off shortly. Ray, if you watch that video, let me know what your thoughts are. I'd love to hear everybody's commentary because, again, unlike a certain cabal of people acting collusively and in a coordinated manner together, I don't like to hide myself. I like to keep things out in the open. This is why I like to do things live, right? When I do my interviews with guests, we don't do them behind the scenes and then pump out the recorded video. There's no way you can argue that I've edited something out or done something nefarious with editing behind the scenes when we're live. There's no getting around that. Yeah, let me turn the volume off on this thing because I forgot that let's kill that. When we go live too, we always do live Q&A with our guests. And there's a reason for that. And that's to hold the guests' feet to the fire and to hold my feet to the fire, because that's how we do things in the world of reasonable human beings. So speaking of that, as you guys probably saw from the preview video, there are some nefarious actors that apparently saw this video before you guys did. So I'd love to know how they got their hands on that video and how they were able to provide commentary on that video and tell people what my intentions were with that video before the video was ever released. And if you guys have a working DeLorean with a working flux capacitor, would love to see it. Maybe we'll get some cameras on. It'd be a cool video to see you guys do Back to the Future in real life. And the basis seems to be their complaints that, our elected officials should be precluded, should be protected from having commentary from the electorate on them. Let me see. I just got another one. Josie, I'm watching, don't know topic, but enjoy your shows. Mike, thanks, Josie. And you know what? To those folks who are the nefarious actors, let's call them, who watch the show and watch the channel, thank you. Thank you, guys. Like, I do this for you guys. So if there's a topic you guys want me to discuss, I'm happy to discuss it. And I'm happy to provide the video evidence. I'm happy to provide receipts at every opportunity and at every corner. This is what I do. So, like, when it comes to things like a defense of defamation, let's just say hypothetically, the truth, even under the law, the truth is always a legitimate and unequivocal and instantaneous defense of any claim of defamation that somebody levels against you. This is in line, not why, but in line with why when I do these videos, I take months to go sift through hours and hours and hours of these incredibly boring meetings and go through just hundreds of pages of meeting minutes and show you exactly what reality is on the ground. This is why when we have a guest, I spend all of these hours, my whole day on Saturday is prep for, if I have a guest on Sunday night, all I'm doing Saturday is prep work for that. And it's not prep work for the stream itself, it's just research. And then throughout the course of the week prior, I'm also continuing to do research. And if I have a guest that I'm expecting, I'm always just keeping myself apprised of everything so that when a guest comes on, I can say, oh, you're referring to Senate bill number. You're referring to House bill number. Is this the bill? And then we can pull it up on screen and we can talk about that. And we can, when somebody says something that's a guest that requires some pushback, we do that. We're able to do that. And I'm able to respond to your commentary, Ray. Speaking of which, Ray, if they do, please drop me off on the 80s and leave me there. Yeah, I mean, Ray and I have had this feud about which was the better decade, the 90s or the 80s. He was a child of the 80s. I was a child of the 90s, so I vote 90s. Ray, I can't really say I have too much to disagree with you there. And there's not really too much to say about that. Right. I know that the thing that has captured the national news is the stuff going on on the Gaza Strip with Israel and I guess Hamas. I've kind of purposely tried to stay away from international politics because it's so hard to stay in the loop. This one seems pretty straightforward. But this isn't why I put this channel together. I put this channel together to discuss local news and politics because there really isn't much of that. And there's an article from the News Times I really wanted to bring up, but it's behind a paywall, and apparently nobody's archived it yet who's actually gotten through the paywall. It's the article that relates to Kevin Brown's post from earlier today about East Street School. And the lead of the article is about the blame game. Like, the whole point of the town council meeting was to play the blame game, and it just blatantly inaccurately mischaracterized. It blatantly inaccurately characterized the nature of last week's town council meeting on last Tuesday night, which is infuriating because I had to sit through that. I had to sit through nearly 3 hours of banging my head against the wall. And, I could do a year's worth of content on just that meeting. And how folks like Chris Cosgrove had to explain to Hillary, like in baby talk, it would be illegal for DPW to do any work on Route 7, probably period, and especially without without the granting of will to do so from the state. If we don't have at the very least the state's blessing, it would be illegal for the mayor to just, by executive fiat, on a whim, send Jack Healy and DPW down to Route 7 to completely reconfigure the highway, right, to Hillary Ram's personal whim. Like Mayor Bass is not a dictator, but that's, like, I don't know how else to describe it. That's what she was prescribing, which is just like, it tells you everything that you need to know, especially given the last time the DTC had a mayor elected into the office of the mayor. We saw what that looked like, and now we're kind of getting some insight as to what it would look like after December 1st, 2023. So, just nonstop. It was just nonstop. So we can talk about that sometime, folks. Let me know if that's something you're interested in, because that whole meeting took me like days to recover from. If you've ever seen the scene at the end of Billy Madison, where Billy Madison has to make that speech, and the guy reviewing the speech as part of the debate, part of what he was doing, it says something along the lines of, "What you said was the most insane," and he goes on for a tirade for like a minute and a half and concludes a tirade with, "Everyone in this room is dumber from having listened to that. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul." That's how I felt. That's how I felt Tuesday night. So if you guys really want to, what we can do next Sunday night, let me know in the comments, let me know in the chat. What we can do next Sunday night is just do a watch party together, and we'll just at like the highest speed I can play it back, get through the 3-hour meeting. It's going to take a while, because if I have to pause to comment on something, it's just going to add to those 3 hours. Now, of course, it's not quite 3 hours of actual meeting time. A lot of that stuff is the Pledge of Allegiance, the recitation of the American's Creed, public comment, which there really isn't much in public comment for me to offer any commentary on. We were through the first like 6 items of an 8-item agenda in like 25 minutes. And the meeting took we didn't get done with the meeting officially until like 9:45. And the meeting started at 7. So, that's one thing we could talk about next week. And the reason I'm offering this is because it would be ridiculously easy for me to go over that. Now, again, this isn't necessarily the most hot button of topics. The meeting, at that previous meeting we talked, East Street was brought up. And I know that's been a very hot button topic. Very briefly, my thoughts are, as the crazy libertarian in the room, yeah, I'm kind of a fan of unloading government property into the private sector. However, the only thing that building is ever going to sell to, first things first, is, and we know this because we had it listed for like 2 years, and the only serious offer we got was for what was essentially entirely public housing, entirely government subsidized housing. So what good is it to get a building off of government coffers to unload it onto what is government coffers by another name? If government is just paying for this in the first place, if we're trying to get, our tax dollars to be used in the best way, how is one hand literally washing the other an improvement on that situation? I don't get that. That's first things first. And second, this is really important. Pettibone is a way more valuable piece of property in the way more valuable piece of property in the private hands of the private sector. If we're going to sell East Street, there's no possible way we can ever sell Pettibone until we've already spent tens of millions of dollars building something to replace it. My line of thinking is the order of operations here should be sell Pettibone. And from the folks I've talked to, we're probably talking a bare minimum of $10 million post-COVID. Right? Bare minimum of $10 million post-COVID. Sell that, right? And then you have millions upon millions upon millions of dollars to front load the bonding that we're going to need to make the move of DPW to Century Brass, which is going to happen. That's happening anyways. And then in the meantime, all of those offices and departments that are located in Pettibone, you do the bare minimum. Bare minimum. I know it's been said $12.1 million is going to be enough to get it, never minding all of the remediation, would get everything at East Street School up to par. Why bother? Do the bare minimum in remediation. I mean bare minimum in remediation. And then get a boiler in there that works. And then bare minimum so that you can populate it temporarily for like a year and a half and 2 years while you during the physical building process of the building of a new office, like a real municipal building, a municipal office, a municipal building complex, right? A real site for DPW, which is going to happen. A real site for Park and Rec's maintenance departments, which is going to happen. If you want a community center, then why wouldn't you build brand new while you're doing that project and while you're going through that bonding process in the first place, and where you're going to have a ton of symbiosis with the building of a new DPW project in the first place? And especially if you can front load that project with the sale of with the monies from the sale of Pettibone, right? And then you have a brand new facility that's purpose built to be an actual community center and not a school. Not an elementary school from 70 years ago that is absolutely not whose build is extremely purpose-built for an extremely specific purpose, and it's not what it's being used for. So you build that at Century Brass, right? And then you relinquish this 16-acre, perfectly flat, already developed, 75 square foot with a 75 square foot building, which is all in floor. So that means 75,000 square foot pad with connections that are already undergrounded, with a sewer connection that's basically already being taken care of, at least from the financial standpoint. There's a mechanism in place to cover that. There's already a mechanism in place to cover what zoning is going to demand and require of sidewalks along the Route 7 corridor of that, right? Like, you have everything already ready to go. It's a corner lot with its own stoplight for all intents and purposes in the one and only road of New Milford that's been specifically set aside for heavy industry. You rezone that as like industry and you get some actual heavy industry builder, which won't come if you don't allow them. So the first thing you have to do is allow them. The first thing you have to do is give them a place to come. Otherwise they won't come, right? And then you're creating extremely high quality jobs. They're paying a fortune in property taxes because they're heavy industry. You're getting millions and millions and millions to front load that new project. And again, you've got a lifetime of whoever's moving in paying a fortune in property taxes. And again, you're comparing this to a property at East Street that is going to be a regulatory nightmare to develop on in the hands of the private sector, which is why the only offer we ever got from Dakota Partners was for almost entirely subsidized housing. And quite frankly, we just don't want that. You want affordable housing in the sense of lowercase a affordable and lowercase h housing. And that can be achieved. And the way you achieve that is you explode supply. And the way you do that is, when it comes to residents, is to increase industry. Once you have industry increased, the residents will naturally follow. And to support the residents, you have commerce, right? That's how the RCI order of operations works. And when I say the regulatory nightmare that is East Street School, it's things along the lines of the building itself is, listed on the National Registry of Historic Places. So you're going to have that hurdle to overcome. You've got federal protections on the stained glass and murals. You've got multiple on the books easements on that property. You've got a brook right behind it, which is going to put a humongous part of that property into a floodplain, probably not even the 50-year floodplain. It's probably the 30-year floodplain, which is going to be a regulatory nightmare to overcome. Not to mention all of the other issues you're going to have with things like it being what zoning is going to demand of whatever new construction happens there, because the building and the property are located in New Milford's historic district. And then on top of that, if you're talking about a symbiosis, the symbiosis is not going to be far removed from downtown, right? Pettibone isn't near anything else the town does anything with, except for the commercial garage it's a commercial condominium. It's a commercial garage that we have basically rented from the private sector behind Wendy's, which just blows my mind. Like, why are we doing this, right? And from what I understand, Park and Rec has been dying and to get their facilities out of there. And the entirety of DPW and facilities maintenance and all of these departments are like, why? What are we doing? Why are we doing this? We're doing this because we have to, but it's kind of a terrible location for it to be. And what are we doing basically renting from the private sector? That just blows my mind for something like that, right? So once this move happens of DPW and Park and Rec, Pettibone's going to be an island. So whatever Symbiosis claims people are making, it's not happening at Pettibone. It's not happening at Pettibone. You're on the wrong side of the river. You're on an industrial and commercially zoned region section of a 4-lane highway that, by the way, I was around for when it was 2 lanes. So no, I'm not in favor of reducing Route 7 from 4 lanes to 2. So we can talk about East Street School in greater detail next week if you guys want to. I really only have time for like one subject. ARPA is being brought up again. You guys have heard my complaints about ARPA. This is an area where I actually don't agree with the 30,000-foot view of how the Republicans have the Republicans on Town Council have been viewing ARPA funds. That isn't to say that I would agree with Hillary. Although I would have voted against virtually all of these things, all of these allocations, like I've said 100 times now, and although every time Hillary voted against one of these allocations, I would have agreed with her, except for one maybe, which had to do with the sewer plant, with the with Water Pollution Control Authority, WPCA. I may have voted in favor of that one. I don't know, but like we have some leftover monies, and therefore it's being talked about again. And at the last meeting, I've basically joked about the dames in the room demanding that Mayor Bass hold their tiny little hands and set them on his lap like Santa Claus and literally hold their hands through the process of going over all of the allocations with ARPA. And it's like, you guys are in the room. You guys are the ones voting on these allocations before they go to a town meeting. Here's how you keep track of the allocations. You take your pen or pencil and you get a notebook or a piece of paper and you write them down. But no, they are demanding, and I think in bad faith, that Pete Bass hold their freaking hands through this entire process. And he did that. He did that last week. And good on Tom Esposito for chiming in and being like, what are we doing here? And Tom, I felt your frustrations. I get why you withdrew your complaints, basically, because you knew that it had to be done and there was no getting around this. But it does say everything you need to know that it even happened in the first place. So yeah. So for those that didn't get a chance to see my here, let me go ahead and put this in this video in the drop this up. I'll just drop this link in let's go to my channel. Go to my channel videos. So in case you guys didn't see it, I'm going to go ahead and put in the chat. This is the video response that I had for Hillary. That's on YouTube now, and that's on Facebook. So, yeah, so you guys, I'm going to be kind of probably shutting this down just momentarily here because I don't feel the need to go that much further. You guys can talk. Let me know what you guys want me to talk about next week. So if you guys you could just check that out. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the video I just released. I love to hear the commentary and the back and forth about its actual content and not made up stuff from people who haven't watched the video, who are just conjuring up out of thin air some narrative that I'm trying to spin that I'm not, as the video evidence demonstrates. I'd be happy to talk about my treatment. And I wonder how the DTC chair I wonder if she would condone what I've been getting in terms of response over the last 6 months from certain members of the community, where I'm getting mailers sent to my home, that are accusing me of all kinds of wild things with fake return addresses saying 10 Main Street. Like, come on, right? And it's a postcard that's been drawn up. I'm not going to show you guys. I'm not going to give them the time of day. But these sort of things are happening. I'm getting harassment sent to my door, right? I'm getting harassment getting sent through Messenger, right? To folks I've asked kindly and sternly, stop messaging me. Stop messaging me on Messenger, right? Stop it, right? And yeah, I'm not an elected official, and I'm getting this kind of treatment, right? And for those who are my opponents who are going to say, oh, well, you're a public figure. Am I? Are you guys the ones that keep saying, like, oh, you have no viewers, you have X number of viewers, and you're using it as an insult to make the claim that I'm not a public figure? Well, am I a public figure or am I not? Because if I'm not, then I do wonder, again, as somebody who's not elected to any office, right, how the DTC chair would feel about that. Would she condone it? Would she condemn it? Would she say, listen, don't be reaching out directly to the members of the community and harassing them directly to their doorstep? Are you okay with that? And understanding too that like what I'm doing here and what I did in that video was exactly what Hillary did, and this isn't King George's colonies from 1770, right? We have a First Amendment, and it's the First Amendment, the very first one, for a reason, because you should absolutely have almost carte blanche to say whatever you want about those who are governing you. This is part of the fundamental principles of government with the consent of the governed, right? You have to be able to pretty much without any restraint, be allowed to say these things about our elected officials. And I say them, sometimes I throw in jokes, right? Sometimes I throw in jokes because it's not always entertaining to be dry and boring and, blackpilling and doomering, right? And to be, guys don't want to be depressed, so you sparkle in a few jokes here and there, right? And to those watching, jokes are jokes. They aren't literalisms, and you know it. So why are you lying? Why would you lie about what the nature of a joke is? A joke, being that it is not a literalism, is intended and it shouldn't be ever taken literally, because it's not a literalism. A equals A. What differentiates a joke from an absolute literalism is that an absolute literalism is to be taken absolutely and literally. Jokes are jokes because they're not entirely genuine and sincere. So when somebody makes a comment that sounds offensive, that is a joke. Part of what makes it a joke is that it isn't entirely sincere. That's how jokes work. Welcome to the world of English 101. I see you're new here. Let me show you around. So there's also the complaints that I'm using the content from these town council meetings. It's like, yes, I'm actually using the video record because what I'm saying is the truth, and I'm not a ridiculous liar, and here's the video evidence to support my claims. Which one is better? Ridiculous liar with no evidence to back their claims, or somebody who's actually backing his claims with the video record? And I'll add, too, that the video record is a matter of public domain. It's not even like I've been given some sort of special privilege or some sort of special permission. It's not even like I can use it however I want so long as I credit it to some sort of thing. No. The second these live videos go live, the second that takes place, they are a matter of public domain, which means you guys at home could use OBS to screen grab those meetings and then pump them out onto Facebook and YouTube. All you want, right? You can put in your own little lower thirds. You can have yourself like in a corner offering commentary. You can pause. You can do whatever the Sam hell you want with these videos. Excuse me, with the exception of lying about them, right? Like using them to elicit a lie about those things, which causes real damages to the nature of, say, the town itself, which I don't even know what that would be. I couldn't even conceive of what usage of videos that are a matter of public domain. Again, this isn't like I'm claiming fair use. This isn't like I'm claiming I was given special permission by the owner of the copyright. These are the town council meetings. Everyone is allowed to watch. Everyone's allowed to be there. And once the videos are live, you can do whatever you want with them. And that includes going to the town's YouTube channel and, God forbid, actually watching them. And then after you've watched them, go ahead and using any one of the hundreds of services that are out there to download that video. In fact, I think on Facebook, you can just right-click on the video and download a standard definition version of that video. I don't even think you have to, when it comes to the Facebook videos, I don't even think you have to do anything like go to any other sites. I'm pretty sure you can just right-click on the video and say download standard def. And yet these are the complaints I'm getting about doing exactly the same thing Hillary's doing, except in my case, I'm telling the truth. I'm offering actual facts and then supporting it with the video evidence that is a matter of public domain. So these are the complaints I've been getting from these actors that I've told you about. And that's why I put the preview video together that I put together, because it was just funny seeing people who were able to offer commentary in a video that hadn't been released, and who were able to talk about the content of that video before it was released, and who were able to talk about the intentions of the video and what I was planning on doing with that video before it was released. Yeah, I'm not sure how they got on that video. They got their hands on a video that didn't exist yet. You know, I would love to find out who it is in town that owns the DeLorean with the working flux capacitor. And again, it was King George's colonies. The last time anywhere in New Milford, Connecticut, it was not considered perfectly in bounds to offer commentary and to talk about our governing officials, right? It was the days of the redcoats when this was the case. So if you're in favor of King George's ethic on that matter, then it would make sense to say, you are on the side of the redcoats. So to jokingly call you a redcoat in that regard kind of fits. It's kind of fitting. So I can't believe I have to explain jokes, but that's what we're dealing with here. That's what we're dealing with in the commentary. Anyways, I'm just going to run through, see if there's any other commentary. It doesn't look like there really is. Folks, please do check out that video. For everyone else who's tuning in, I was hoping to get to your thoughts on the video, but I guess folks are watching football now. So thanks for everyone for tuning in. Thanks everyone who watched that video. Please do go ahead and share it. Again, there's a subscribe star link in that video's description. I think I forgot to put it in this video's description. And that is going to help me if you're willing to subscribe for just $5 a month on Subscribestar. My account's under review right now. It's going to take a few days for everything to go through. But if you're willing to subscribe for just $5 a month, you're not going to have to wait like 4.5 months to get these video responses. You're going to be able to get all this content way sooner, because I'm going to have a reason to say, you know what, I'm just going to take a day off from work. I'm going to scale back the landscaping. I'm going to do things like, you know what, maybe I don't have to scale back the landscaping. I can hire an editor I'm going to do all the research, all the scripting, all the recording. I'm going to provide him the content. I'm going to give him an outline of what I want done. You do the editing. 8 hours a night in the editing room, 5 days a week for like 6 straight weeks. This project took me hundreds and hundreds of hours of just editing and doing test renders and all that sort of thing. So yeah, if you can go just check out my Subscribestar account. Again, link is, let me just drop this link here. Link, I'm going to drop the link. Hold on. How do I get the link from here to there? I know how I can do it. All right, here we go. This one. There we go. All right, so I'm going to drop my Subscribestar. Here we go. I'm going to drop my Subscribestar account into commentary on YouTube and into the commentary on Facebook. Again, even $5 a month, that's all it would take, would just be a life-altering experience for me on this channel. Otherwise, I really can't afford to really be doing much with this channel. Like after tonight, I'm probably not going to come back and touch this channel for weeks. But, if I have a whole bunch of subscribers and I have, a monetary reason to, if I have a mechanism for doing this channel in the way that I would like to do it, then I'm going to. But right now, again, I'm swamped with work in the landscaping world, and I don't have the time to devote to these sort of things when that's what I'm devoting my time to. I can open up time if I have money to pay an editor to do the editing, right? Where I'm still overseeing all the content. I'm still overseeing all the publishing. I'm still overseeing everything that matters. He's just the guy that's in some dark closet doing the actual editing of the video content itself. All that would be extremely helpful, and I'd be incredibly grateful for everyone who joins in over there. And with that said, I think we're going to conclude tonight. So again, thanks everyone for tuning in to this live video, and especially thanks to those who watched my video response to my rebuttal, if you will, to Councilman Hillary Ram's video. Let me know your commentary in that video. Any interaction I get on that video helps me fight against the partisan algorithm that YouTube has in place that is going to be an uphill battle because of my politic. I'm not a communist, therefore I have an uphill battle with the algorithm. And I don't know when I'm going to see you guys next, but, let me know. Let me know what you guys want to see from me. Let me know the topics you want to see from me. Let me know when is a reasonable time to get back to this, and I'll do my best. Until then, thanks everyone for tuning in. Good night.